Alright guys, we're back. This is the night that I blew a tire going down the backside of the mountain on my way home, away from my girl's house. This was a terrible night. I was stranded for 8 hours straight. Again, 8 hours straight. Not happy. Worst night that I could think of in my entire life. I absolutely just, oh man, this night was just something else. So we're about to get into that right now. I was driving a Nissan Frontier. Yes, this truck right here. So I was just, just cruising along, happy as can be, going down the backside of the mountain. Everything's fine. I mean, I'm listening to the radio, I'm jamming. I'm on my way home, and it's like 11 o'clock going on 12. It was almost 12 o'clock. And I'm just, enjoying myself. And I start going down the backside of the mountain, and I get to this bridge, and it's actually concrete, but it looks just like this. But it was driving over it, and I just all of a sudden get loose a little bit. And it's raining too, so I'm thinking maybe I hydroplane, and then I just hear a boom, and then I'm going everywhere. I'm freaking out. I mean, I'm looking, my car's going crazy, yelling, just like, I'm like, what in the world's going on? And I about daggone went in the ditch. If I would have went in the ditch, it would have been terrible. But anyway, my car and me are terrified. My truck and me are terrified. I get out, and I check my tire. My tire looks fine. At least it did then. It looked fine, so I was like, maybe I just ran over something, or I was like, I had to run over something. So I was like, okay, well, we're good. So I get back in my truck, and I start driving down the road. I keep going because I'm not too far away from my house, and I got to get home because I have work the next day. So I continue driving, up the road, just going on, listening to the radio still, jamming out, and everything's normal. Well, then I start hearing just cranking, and then I just hear boom again. And I'm like, oh no, what's going on now? Because I've already heard this sound before, and my truck starts wobbling everywhere. I was hoping I could make it to the house. I could not. If I would have kept going, I would have been riding on the rim. Keep in mind, I'm on the side of the road, and it is nighttime. Most of these pictures are at daytime, because I wanted y'all to be able to see what I saw most of the time. This was kind of like the road I was on, and it was in the middle of freaking nowhere. Nowhere. So you got to keep in mind, when you're in the middle of nowhere, you hear everything. There's a train that's beside us, and then there's coyotes, wolves, bears, all kinds of stuff out here. And not even to keep in mind, it is raining. It literally started raining right when I broke down. So I was like, why in the world did it have to start raining right when I broke down? But sure enough, it did. And it was miserable. Right here, I'm about to show you a picture of the tire. This is actually a picture of the tire. The reason why there's a blanket back there is because I had stuff back there afterwards. But that is the tire and what it done. It was not looking good. If I would have rode on that more, it probably would have went in pieces, and I would have been riding on my rim and damaged my rotor and my rims. Anyway, so I get out, and I check for damage, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, crap. I am stranded. Because nobody knows where I am. The service is terrible. And I don't know what to do. So it literally looks like this, just like I showed y'all. This is how it looked on my truck. Man, it was something. I just looked at it and I was like, I do not like the side of this. This is going to be terrible. So I try calling everybody. I'm calling my dad, my mom. Nobody's answering because, it's late at night. Everybody's asleep. Well, come to find out, I finally get my mom the answer. And my mom is on her way. Then I start hearing coyotes. just wolves everywhere. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Scared to death because, they're close, and I'm outside of my truck, just howling, just ooh, and I swear this one just would not shut up, just ooh like crazy, howling up in at the moon, and they was, like I said, very, very, very close to me. So of course, when they get close like that, it's not that great. So I'm sitting here in the truck, and I'm just hearing them howl. I get back in the truck. Well, my battery dies. Great. So luckily my mom, she showed up right in time, and she jumped me off, luckily. So I had my radio and, stuff just to listen to while I'm sitting there. And it didn't go dead because of my radio. It just went dead because I was sitting there and it was freaking cold outside. It is now like 3 o'clock. I'm freezing my butt off. We started this dang thing at 12 o'clock. And I still got work. So I'm talking to Mom, and I'm like, she's tired too. She didn't get no sleep. And I was like, Mom, just go on. I was like, you can go on, I'll stay here. And she's like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. So she goes on. It's still making some noises. I'm just sitting in my truck. Just chilling. And I really don't know what to do. I'm calling everybody. Nobody's wanting to answer at all, which is, it tore me up because I was like, what am I going to do? Nobody's answering. I knew my mom couldn't do anything. She didn't have a jack with her. She didn't have anything, which I say that 7 a.m. rolls around though, and
2,000 years later.
Dad finally shows up. And I'm over here looking like my profile picture. I am so daggum happy my dad has finally showed up with his camouflage hat on, his NASCAR shirt. And we're just, standing there, seeing what we're going to do. We get the lug wrench out. We start taking the nuts off. Excuse me. And we're just, it's terrible, the damage. And we have this terrible jack that comes in every vehicle, and we didn't even have this bar up here. We had to use another tool that was very different to connect to the end of that to jack it up. And the jack eventually ended up bending on us, which was not a good sight. Luckily, we saw a guy stopped on the side of the road and come back for us. He had a jack just like this. He had everything you could possibly think of in the back of his truck, every tool, an air compressor for my tire that I had that was dry rot in the back, thankfully, and it got us all the way to the mechanic shop, thankfully. A cop pulled up behind us. He asked us, what was going on, and we told him that I've been there for 8 hours. He was like, dang, that's a long time. He asked us if there was anything he could do. We was like, no, we're already getting help. We're good now. And he was like, well, you sure? And we was like, yeah, we appreciate everything. He was like, you're welcome. And he drove off, and the guy helped us, and it was great. I was just ready to, get to work because it was bad for me to be out. We got to the shop. They found a tire that looked identical to mine. Still looks identical. They popped it on my truck, thankfully, and it looks very good. It matches all 3 of my other tires, so it's perfect. Also, I did make them take the rim out because they weren't going to keep my rim. Anyway, so I was happy on my way to work. Not really, but, I was tired. Got there, did my job. So the moral of the story is always make sure you check your tires every day before you leave the house. Also, go to work if you possibly can, especially in times like that. And thank y'all so much, Flip a Clip, for allowing me to record videos like this. And y'all like and subscribe. And y'all have a great, amazing day.